Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sort through the noise, the sources, to bring you, well, the really interesting stuff. And today, oh boy, today we're diving into a story that just sounds completely made up. Like if you wrote it for a comedy show, they might say it's too unbelievable.
Right, too on the nose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely real. Real person, real consequences, and the star of the show, the kid's toy. We are talking about an incident that just completely captured people's attention. First locally, then it just blew up everywhere, purely because it's so absurd.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating, I think, is how this specific situation kind of forces you to look at the lines, the lines between what we think of as law and order and just bizarre human choices.
Right.
And the strangeness of it all, it creates this this unique kind of tension that's almost a perfect space for humor, but specifically that darker kind of humor to just bubble up. It's like this collision, the absolutely ridiculous smacking right into the very sober reality of legal trouble.
Totally. So that's our mission today. We're going to peel back the layers on this one. It's quite a story. We'll look at all of it. The visual comedy, which is undeniable.
Oh, absolutely.
The baffling why behind it. And yeah, the legal side, which is actually surprisingly serious. We want to unpack why this story hit such a nerve, what it tells us about, I don't know, human decision-making when maybe practicality takes a back seat.
Or gets left behind entirely, yeah. And how those choices then slam into, the legal system, and of course pop culture picks it up and runs with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This isn't just a funny story to tell at parties, though it is that too. It's kind of a deep dive into the unexpected. A real microcosm of the bizarre.
And it really does raise some fundamental questions, doesn't it? Like, when does something go from being just silly or maybe a bit whimsical to genuinely problematic? Where's that line?
Yeah.
And how do we, looking from the outside, sort of square the humor? Because it is funny with the fact that, well, actual laws were broken. This case, I think, it walks that tightrope perfectly, almost like it was designed to. It's got this weird artistic precision to its absurdity.
Yeah, it really does. So for you listening, this isn't just, half an hour of weird news. It's actually a pretty fascinating look into how laws get defined, sometimes in ways you wouldn't expect.
Definitely.
And personal responsibility, obviously. And just that strange process where a small local news bit suddenly becomes this global legend.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to have some aha moments, I think, about legal interpretation.
And maybe a little bit about the psychology of someone who, facing infamy, just decides to lean into it, to kind of own the absurdity.
Exactly. Embrace the weirdness.
Yeah. Okay, let's set the scene. Picture this. It's September 5th, 2025. A crisp morning in Prince George, British Columbia.
Right. Ordinary day.
Totally ordinary. People are heading to work, the usual morning commute buzz. The sounds, the feel of it. Engines humming, maybe some local radio playing.
Just traffic. Just traffic. The roads are full of, well, normal cars. Sedans, SUVs, pickup trucks. One of our sources described it perfectly as the sea of beige Corollas and sensible SUVs.
Yes. Very evocative.
Isn't it? Just utterly mundane. The perfect, gray, everyday backdrop for something. Well, something very not gray. Something extremely vibrant was about to appear.
And that ordinariness is key, isn't it? The sheer predictability of that morning commute scene just cranks up the volume on the shock and the confusion when our protagonist arrives. It's that immediate disruption. It creates the narrative tension right away, even before anything really happens. It's that jolt to the system that's kind of the foundation for the dark humor that's about to unfold, right? Setting up the normal that gets so spectacularly broken.
So yeah, amidst this sea of sensible beige and gray, suddenly there's this flash of electric pink.
Hard to miss.
Impossible to miss. Our protagonist, a man named Kasper Lincoln, isn't driving a Corolla. Oh, no.
Yep.
He is serenely, almost regally, cruising down a main road in a child-sized, bright pink Power Wheels Barbie Jeep.
Just processing that visual.
It stops you in your tracks.
Yeah.
It's an instant, wait, what moment. You'd absolutely do a double take, maybe rub your eyes. Is that really happening?
Yeah, the cognitive dissonance there is just immense. A grown man.
Right.
Morning traffic. In a toy car designed for, what, a 6-year-old?
Right.
It immediately triggers that humor response because it's so wildly out of place. It just sets the whole tone. It's not just weird. It's like a challenge to reality itself. What belongs on a road? Who belongs behind a wheel? That massive gap between what you expect and what you're seeing, that's the bedrock. That's where the whole darkly comedic thing starts to build.
And the reason for this grand expedition, what vital mission sent Kasper Lincoln out in a Barbie Jeep?
Had to be important, right?
You'd think. Well, according to the man himself, he got lazy.
Lazy.
Got lazy.
Yeah.
Had a powerful craving for a Slurpee.
A Slurpee, of course.
And decided to borrow his roommate's daughter's toy car, to go get one. A Slurpee run. One source called it perfectly the noblest of quests.
Huh.
It's just the casualness of it. I wanted a Slurpee, too lazy to walk, I know. And then this happens. It really makes you wonder how many truly terrible yet somehow legendary ideas start with something so mundane, like needing a sugary drink.
That contrast is just classic, isn't it? The tiny, almost trivial motivation, I got lazy, wanting a Slurpee, versus the sheer effort and the sheer legal fallout of actually driving a Power Wheels on a busy street.
Yeah.
It's like a poem about bad decisions. That very simple explanation stands against the, frankly, considerable effort and the very serious charges that came later. It shows how these small, impulsive moments can just balloon into these huge, unforgettable stories.
Totally. The everyday craving makes the ridiculousness of the action and what happened next even louder.
Exactly, more pronounced.
But wait, it gets better. The details. The details are what push this from just weird into something cinematic, almost performative.
Okay, hit me.
First, the attire. He wasn't just driving, he was piloting. He was wearing aviator sunglasses.
No way, aviators.
Aviator sunglasses.
Yeah.
Like he's Tom Cruise in Top Gun, but, in a pink plastic Jeep going 3 miles an hour. It adds this layer of serious commitment to the inherent ridiculousness.
That is dedication to the look.
Wow. Witnesses said he was cruising at a blistering 3 miles per hour, meticulously staying close to the curb. And get this, he was diligently using hand signals for his turns.
Hand signals.
Hand signals?
Yeah.
On a Barbie Jeep. I mean, talk about commitment to road safety, even when your vehicle is essentially a glorified electric toothbrush.
That's incredible. Those details, they're not just color, are they? They really do transform it. It stops being just a dumb act and becomes this piece of, like, accidental public theater. The sunglasses, the careful hand signals, that super slow speed.
Yeah.
It's like he's performing, whether he meant to or not. He's creating this visual story that's way more than just guy goes for Slurpee. It's that level of, I don't know, misguided focus, that almost artistic flair applied to a completely preposterous idea. That's what makes it legendary, right? That's what makes it prime material for dark humor. The meticulous execution of something utterly bonkers.
Okay, so imagine you're one of those drivers in the beige Corolla C. You see the pink Jeep, the aviators, maybe even the hand signal, and then record scratch.
Flashing lights.
Flashing lights. Suddenly, a full-sized police cruiser materializes, lights blazing, pulling over this tiny pink thing.
The visual alone.
It's insane. The scale difference. You've got this symbol of authority, this big Impala or whatever it was, bearing down on something that looks like it should be in a toy store aisle, not getting a traffic stop.
Right. A car smaller than the police car's tires. It's pure cartoon logic, but happening right there on the street.
Yeah. A total rupture of reality.
And you have to think about the officers, right? That visual, the police car and the Power Wheels, it just perfectly highlights the challenge for them.
Yeah.
How do you maintain professionalism, follow procedure, when you're faced with something that absurd?
Right. How do you keep a straight face?
Exactly. That image, the huge difference in size and purpose, it captures that tension between, I have a job to do, laws to enforce, and this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It must test your stoicism to the absolute limit. You need authority, but also, like, superhuman resistance to giggling.
And the public watching this, their reaction was pretty much what you'd expect, just disbelief.
Confusion, yeah.
Our sources found footage of a woman at the scene just asking the officer, totally incredulous, "You're really arresting him for driving a kid's Jeep?"
Perfect. Captures that initial sense of, surely this isn't serious.
Yeah, that feeling that it's just harmless fun. A bit weird maybe, but endearing.
Yeah.
Just some quirky guy brightening up the morning commute. That seemed to be the vibe from bystanders.
And that initial perception is so important. It really sets the stage, underscores the perceived innocence, which then makes the actual reason for the arrest hit so much harder. That contrast is essential for the dark humor angle we're exploring. You naturally look for the simple, funny explanation first. It's a prank, right? It's performance art. That initial lightheartedness, though, that's what gets completely tangled up as the real story emerges. It creates that comedic tension. It's that brief moment of, haha, how quirky, before the shadow of actual legal triple falls. And that makes the collision, when it comes, much more darkly funny.
Yeah, this is exactly the turning point, the pivot, where this whole thing shifts from just like a wacky anecdote
Right, just a funny story.
into something much more complex. Up till the officer walks up It's pure visual comedy.
Yeah.
Quirky guy, quirky ride.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
the conversation starts, and the funny prank narrative takes a very sharp, very unexpected, and kind of dark turn. The fun gets complicated fast.
This is it. This is where the dark part of dark humor really kicks in. That surface innocence, the pure silliness, it just shatters. But the absurdity, the image of the Barbie Jeep, it doesn't go away. It just gets slammed up against the seriousness of the actual crime. And that friction, that mismatch, creates this almost irresistible pull to laugh.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
Totally uncomfortable. You're laughing at the ridiculousness of a real transgression being committed in the least dignified way imaginable. That quick jump from light fun to, oh, wait, this is actually serious. It's jarring, unsettling, but also undeniably funny in a really weird way. It forces you to see the bizarre meeting the legal.
So let's get to it. What was the actual issue? Why did the flashing lights appear? What did Kasper Lincoln do besides choosing questionable transport?
Okay, so this is where the Slurpee run goes truly off the rails.
Right.
When the officer stopped him, it wasn't just about, the vehicle choice. A quick check revealed first that Mr. Lincoln's driver's license was suspended.
Ah, strike one.
Reg strike one. And then the breathalyzer came out, and turns out he was significantly over the legal blood alcohol limit for driving in Canada.
Oh, wow. Okay, so suspended license and impaired.
Exactly, which means this wasn't just some weird traffic violation. This was a full-blown DUI. Driving under the influence. Arrestable offense.
Suddenly, those aviator sunglasses seem with a bit less
Oh, yeah.
cool action hero and a bit more poor life choices.
Precisely. So yeah, not just a quirky joyride. It was actually a genuine public safety issue, even if the vehicle itself was moving at the speed of continental drift.
3 miles per hour of public menace. The juxtaposition is just chef's kiss. Potentially serious crime carried out with almost theatrical slowness.
And that reveal just completely shifts how you see it, doesn't it? It forces you to think about personal responsibility and how weirdly public perception works. The image, the Barbie Jeep, it's still funny. You can't unsee it. But the facts underneath, suspended license, driving drunk, those are really sobering.
Yeah.
So the dark humor, I think, it comes from that massive mismatch in scale. A serious offense with real risks committed in this incredibly undignified, almost pathetic way.
Totally pathetic.
It's like a case study in how the packaging can completely change our reaction to the content. Take away the pink plastic, and it's just a straightforward, serious offense. But with the pink plastic, it becomes this darkly comic spectacle. It really shows how we find humor even when our brain knows, intellectually, this is not good.
And the officer dealing with this, how did he react? Apparently, according to Lincoln himself, the officer was totally professional. Polite, even.
Impressive under the circumstances.
Right. But as he was doing the paperwork, filling in all the boxes, he apparently looked up and just confessed, this is my first time.
Ah, I can just picture it.
Can't you? The internal battle.
Yeah.
Got to stay professional. Got to follow procedure.
Yeah.
But inside, just thinking, what is happening right now? Maybe holding back a grin.
Yeah.
It's such a human moment within the system.
Oh, absolutely. It's like that source described it like trying to get a turtle out of its shell, maintaining that official composure when faced with pure absurdity.
Yeah.
You can just imagine that officer carefully writing down, make power wheels, trying to keep his hands steady. And yeah, that story, that's going straight into the police department Hall of Fame.
Oh, for sure. Banquets, retirement party.
Exactly. For decades. Remember that time we pulled over the Barbie Jeep DUI? It becomes legendary. It's the Mona Lisa of bad decisions, as you said. And these moments, for officers, they're probably a weird kind of relief sometimes. A break from the usual, often grim routine. They become these indelible stories where duty meets the utterly bizarre. And it kind of humanizes them too, right? Shows they're not just uniforms, they react to weirdness like anyone else.
Now, the big question a lot of people probably had, and maybe you're thinking this too, is, hang on, a kid's toy. Does that really count as a motor vehicle under the law, like legally?
Yeah, that's the $1 million or maybe the $50 plastic sheep question.
Right. Surely not.
Wow.
Here's where the law is surprisingly and maybe hilariously unambiguous.
This is pretty clear, yeah.
We looked into this. A legal expert confirmed it. In Canada, the definition is broad. Basically, if it's on a roadway and it's powered by anything other than human muscle, it counts as a motor vehicle.
Battery, gas, whatever.
Exactly. And a Power Wheels Barbie Jeep. It's got a battery, it's got an electric motor. So, yep, legally, it's a motor vehicle.
Checkmate, Barbie.
So this wasn't just, a silly stunt. By the letter of the law, it was a legitimate DUI in a registered, in a defined motor vehicle.
And that broadness in the law, it's kind of fascinating, right? It has to be written that way to cover not just what exists now, but what might exist later.
Future-proofing the law against weird inventions.
Sort of. They weren't thinking Barbie Jeep DUI when they wrote it, obviously. But the general definition is robust enough to catch even the most creative forms of transportation people might try on public roads.
Right, like electric scooters, e-bikes.
Hoverboards, yeah. All that stuff that keeps popping up. Instead of writing a new law every time someone invents a motorized skateboard, the general definition keeps things like impaired driving rules applicable. It's about public safety at the end of the day. And that definition lets the core safety laws adapt. It's actually quite clever, maybe accidentally so.
So the big takeaway here is DUIs aren't just for cars and trucks. The net is way wider.
Much wider.
That source you mentioned listed some fun examples, like, could you get a DUI on a riding lawnmower on the road?
If it's motorized and on a public roadway?
Yep, electric scooter.
Definitely.
Those hoverboards that sometimes burst into flames?
Technically, yes. Though you might have other problems, too. Sure.
What about a motorized cooler? People make those.
Bizarre, but yes. If it has a motor, runs on the road. Same rule apply.
Wow. So the lesson is crystal clear. If it moves under its own power and you're on a public street, you're operating a motor vehicle. Doesn't matter if it's pink and plastic. So maybe think twice before taking your custom-built motorized armchair out for a spin after happy hour. Think of Kasper Lincoln. Think of the pink chariot. You do not want to become the next legend of pathetic crime. The law reaches further and weirder than you might think.
It really does serve as this incredibly strange but effective PSA, doesn't it?
Totally.
It clarifies those legal lines in the most memorable way imaginable, because the dark humor makes it stick. You won't forget the Barbie Jeep DUI.
Never.
And that image. It probably does more to deter someone from trying something similar with their, I don't know, motorized unicycle than any boring legal pamphlet ever could. It makes the abstract idea of a motor vehicle very concrete, very pink, and very funny.
Yeah.
And it also shows how tough it is for police, right?
Right.
Having to apply serious laws to situations that look like a joke while everyone's taking pictures and laughing, managing that perception of justice is tricky.
Okay, let's talk about the man himself.
Yeah.
Kasper Lincoln. Who is this guy who becomes this accidental folk hero of foolishness?
Yeah, what's his deal?
Well, it turns out this wasn't his first rodeo, legally speaking. He told reporters quite openly, yeah, he'd been arrested several times before.
Okay, so not exactly a clean slate.
Not exactly. But then he added, and you can almost picture the glint in his eye. This is the most hilarious one.
He ranked them.
He ranked his arrests like he's a critic reviewing his own criminal history. And the Barbie Jeep DUI, that was his masterpiece, his GI peppers of poor judgment, peak absurdity achieved.
Wow. That's quite a perspective. Psychologically, that's fascinating. Is it a coping mechanism, just finding humor in a bad spot? Or is there a weird kind of pride there? Like, I achieved peak ridiculousness.
Right, what's going on there?
It definitely points to a certain kind of personality. Someone who can just find the funny or maybe make the funny even when facing charges. Embracing the narrative, even if it's a criminal narrative, can be a way to feel like you have some control, maybe.
Taking ownership of the story.
Exactly. Turning a bad decision into a hilarious masterpiece. It deflects the shame, maybe. And it also taps into something we all kind of love, these extraordinary weird stories, even if they start from something dumb. It's like he understood the viral potential, how people find themselves famous for odd reasons now, and how you choose to react to that.
And he definitely reacted by leaning in, hard. He wasn't hiding. He seemed to genuinely enjoy the notoriety.
Really?
Yeah, he was seen enjoying the memes people made. He gave interviews, told the story with this amazing level of, like, amused detachment.
Wow.
Didn't even seem mad at the police. Just found the whole thing fundamentally funny. He really embraced that public story, found the humor in his own screw-up, and kind of cemented himself as this unlikely anti-hero.
The patron saint of lazy Slurpee runs.
Exactly. The voice of anyone who's ever thought, ugh, walking is too hard, and conveniently had access to a child's electric vehicle. It's a weird kind of modern fame, isn't it? Born purely from bad judgment, plus an incredibly memeable visual.
It really shows the power of social media, doesn't it? How quickly something local can just explode globally.
Instantly.
An incident like this becomes a meme overnight, and the person involved becomes this weirdly mythic figure. And because he leaned into it, he got to shape that story, didn't he? Turned his legal trouble into this shared joke, almost. He sort of rode the wave of public amusement, became a symbol of, Well, something wonderfully undefinable. Just human quirkiness winning out, maybe, even when it leads to a mugshot. We do seem fascinated by people who break the mold, even if they break the law doing it.
But amidst all the laughter and memes, we have to remember the official side, the police perspective.
Right. The less funny side.
For them, it wasn't a joke. They had to deal with the public safety aspect. They pointed out, look, funny or not, this was a hazard. Reports said actual drivers were swerving to avoid him on a busy morning road. That's genuinely dangerous. He wasn't just a slow-moving curiosity. He was causing real problems, real risks.
And that's the crucial split, isn't it? The tension that fuels the dark humor. From a pure safety view, an impaired driver is an impaired driver. Doesn't matter if they're in a Ferrari or a Fisher-Price. The risk is there.
Exactly.
But the visual, the pink Jeep, it just makes it so hard for people to see the danger. They see the comedy first, like that idea of it being a beautiful mobile art installation. It perfectly captures that conflict, and it shows how tough it is for law enforcement. They have to be serious, apply the law, while the public might just be seeing it as hilarious street theater. It's a really awkward position trying to do your job seriously while potentially becoming part of the punchline yourself, walking that tightrope over public perception.
Okay, let's talk about the physical evidence.
Yeah.
The paper trail. Because if any document deserves to be in a museum of weird history, it's the actual ticket issued to Kasper Lincoln.
Oh, I bet this is good.
CBC News actually got the details from the official record. Are you ready?
Lay it on me.
Under make, it says clear as day, Power Wheels.
Perfect.
Under model, Barbie
Yeah.
Jeep. And under color, simply beautifully pink.
Chef's kiss. That's amazing.
Isn't it? It's not just a ticket. It's like a historical artifact. Proof that reality is stranger than fiction. It just perfectly freezes the whole surreal event in bureaucratic black and white and pink.
That's the ultimate punchline, really. The system trying to formally categorize this absurdity.
Mm-hmm.
That meticulous labeling of a toy car on an official legal form just cranks the inherent ridiculousness up to 11. It makes the whole thing concrete, documented, and even more unforgettable. It pews that sometimes the driest procedures can produce the purest comedy. The inflexibility of the system meeting the infinite flexibility of human weirdness. Just perfect dark humor.
And the fate of the noble steed itself. The Barbie Jeep.
Did it get impounded? Sent to the evidence locker?
Almost. The police actually considered impounding it, which honestly would have felt wrong somehow, like destroying a piece of art.
The crime against comedy.
Exactly. But thankfully, a friend of Lincoln stepped in, talked the officers into letting him take the now legendary pink vehicle home.
Ah, rescue.
Rescued. So it was eventually returned to its rightful owner, the roommate's little daughter.
A poor kid.
Right? Who probably just wondered why her favorite car suddenly smelled faintly of cheap beer and regret.
Oh, no. That detail.
Isn't it perfect? It just brings the whole crazy story full circle. Back to the innocent toy, now slightly tainted by its adventure in the world of adult mistakes and questionable beverages. A slightly sticky, slightly scandalous history.
That final touch is just masterful dark humor. It adds this layer of sadness almost, but still funny.
Yeah.
The toy, meant for pure imagination, comes back carrying the actual physical scent of grown-up trouble. Cheap beer and regret, you can almost smell it. It's such a potent symbol of how our weird choices ripple out, affecting things in unexpected ways. It's the perfect, slightly tragic, but deeply funny ending to that chapter. The silent, pink witness to a story that will definitely be told forever.
So let's step back. We've been through the whole saga. What's the big takeaway from the Ballad of the Barbie Jeep DUI?
Where do we even start?
I mean, at its heart, it feels like a story about dreams, right? A very simple dream. A cold Slurpee, maybe avoiding a short walk.
The dream of laziness.
The dream of laziness, crashing, literally and figuratively, into the harsh, fluorescent reality of getting arrested.
Yeah.
It's this unforgettable mix. A guy with a suspended license, over the limit, who decides the best way to get his drink is to take his roommate's kid's toy Jeep onto a main road.
Leading to a DUI arrest that somehow charmed the world.
Exactly. It's just this perfect storm. Personal stupidity, genuine safety risk, clear crime, and just Undeniable comedic timing. Everything aligned perfectly for maximum absurdity.
And looking bigger picture, it really does illustrate something important, even through the absurdity. It
Yeah.
shows that the law, when it comes down to it, doesn't really care how whimsical or slow your vehicle is.
Nope, doesn't care if it's pink.
Doesn't care if it's pink. It cares if it's a motor vehicle on a public road and if you're following the rules,
Yeah.
or in this case, spectacularly not following the rule.
Right.
It's a weird kind of testament to how far legal definitions can reach and how human behavior finds the most creative ways to test those boundaries. It underlines that safety rules apply universally, even to toys, apparently.
And I think this whole deep dive just perfectly captures the essence of dark humor, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Textbook case.
It's how that visual, the sheer outrageousness, grown man, aviators, pink toy Jeep, lifts what's basically a common, if stupid, crime into something legendary. It makes you laugh, genuinely laugh, even while you're shaking your head thinking, dude, what were you thinking? It shows how we find amusement in serious stuff precisely because it's presented in such an incredibly mismatched, incongruous way. It's that uncomfortable, slightly guilty laugh, recognizing the bizarre truth under the surface.
And that whole phenomenon, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? In this world where we're just flooded with images and stories, how do we tell the difference between what's genuinely dangerous and what's just performative weirdness? Especially when the absurdity is so high, it kind of blinds you.
Yeah, where is that line?
Right, and it makes you think what other completely normal objects around you could, given the right or maybe the terribly wrong set of circumstances, lead to some equally bizarre brush with the law. It pushes you to think outside the usual categories.
And maybe the final thought for you, listening. What utterly ridiculous, definitely ill-advised mode of transport would you pick for your next moment of peak laziness, knowing the potential for global internet fame or, arrest?
Choose wisely, or hilariously unwisely.
That's all for this deep dive into the Ballad of the Barbie Jeep DUI. Thanks for coming along for this wild, very pink ride.